Hi, this is Mckenzie, and this is my activism video. I hope you enjoy it.
Activism is putting in the efforts within your own actions with the desire to make changes in society for the better of the world. Activists decide to act when they've had enough of social, political, economic, or environmental issues, and they decide to step in to intervene. I have even asked friends to help define activism, and they came up with 1. Activism is when someone stands up for what they believe is right, even when that action may be against their own interests or their action may be the more difficult choice. 2. Activism is being passionate about something that you will be willing to take action no matter what obstacles or challenges might occur. 3. Activism is a long-term commitment to a social issue not currently being addressed by our government. It is about speaking up, protesting, lobbying for change, writing your congressperson, running for office, for yourself or those without a voice. Activism can be voting in elections, protesting, boycotting, educating people on social, political, and economic issues, monkey wrenching, petitioning, and it can be displayed in forms of art and literature. Qualities of an activist that I consider important: 1. Persistence, because there are always setbacks. 2. Inspiring, so that they can convince others to follow them. 3. Intellectual, because they need to know what they are standing up for. And 4. Open-minded, because it is important to keep your mind open to all possible forms of activism and their outcomes. An activist can be anyone. It does not discriminate on race, age, gender, class, or backgrounds in general. I even believe that paid activism is still activism, because they do still have an agenda to change political, social, economic, and environmental issues.
The next thing I'm going to share with you guys is kind of like the recent protests that have happened in the past years.
The Me Too movement is against sexual harassment and sexual assault. It supports the survivors and lets them tell their story. The Black Lives Matter movement helps to bring awareness to violence and systematic racism towards Black people. In 2016, U.S. athletes decided instead of standing for the national anthem, they were going to kneel in silence, protesting against systematic oppression, equality and social injustice, racism, and injustice in the criminal systems for people of color. The LGBTQ community and its allies have protested across countries to gain the same rights that straight men and women have, and to recognize trans rights as human rights. March for Our Lives was a protest for stricter gun regulation due to the large increase in school shootings. The Families Belong Together March was hoping to push the Trump administration to reunite thousands of children that were separated from their families when they were crossing into the border. The climate change protests is a call for clean energy future and to help stop climate change and people's denial of its existence.
I'm going to share with you guys some of my favorite activists and what their contributions were to society.
Amal Clooney advocates for human rights and takes on cases that support neglected and exploited groups. She even is quoted saying, "I want to work on cases that I feel more passionate about." Rosa Parks became active in the civil rights movement and went to jail because she refused to give her seat away after years of discrimination. She said, "I would have to know for once and for all what rights I had as a human being and as a citizen." John Brown is an example of extremist activism. He did not believe in slavery, so he went around killing people who owned slaves. I believe that activism can be peaceful, and you do not have to sacrifice your life or your health for it. Not all activism has good outcomes. Some activism, like protests, can end up in violent situations. People can be killed, injured, hurt severely, or even thrown in jail. I believe that activists should consider the consequences. It is not enough just to have good intentions. There are consequences to every action that we choose, and we have. The idea of activism inspiring, because I like to see other people caring about their future and actually putting forth actions to change it. I do believe that in some ways I am an activist, with voting in elections for candidates that support my beliefs and protesting against certain issues that I believe in. I have decided to share 2 quotes with you that I think summarize activism. 1. A change is brought about because ordinary people do extraordinary things. Barack Obama. 2. You may never know what results come of your actions, but if you do nothing, there will be no results. Gandhi.